So for these opening lines, we're asking you to write about a time you did or did not feel included. How did that make you feel then? And then reflecting, do you feel differently now? Feel free to share that in the chat, but then we'll also have a little bit of time after to share with the group if you would like to unmute. But with that, go ahead and take about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and share. So for our workshop today, we already started off strong with our opening lines, and then I'm going to give a quick introduction to Inkluded and the team that we have here today. And then I'll pass it over to the Inkluded team more to talk about programming and general information and then info on how to apply. And then we'll have time for Q&A for any questions you have. So feel free to ask questions in the chat, but expect them to be answered in that Q&A session. And then we'll have survey and announcements. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to the Inkluded team. So first we have Michael Mejias, the founder here today, and he's the founding executive director of Inkluded and the principal designer of free publishing course for college graduates from the BIPOC space, which if you're unfamiliar stands for Black, Indigenous People of Color. He has been at Writers House for over 2 decades and founded the Writers House intern program in the year 2000. Through WHIP, he's helped place nearly 400 people in their first publishing jobs, with a third of those placements coming from BIPOC communities. We also have Mia Roman, who is a community member, a part of Inkluded Academy, and she is a literary agent, rights agent, and founder of Roman Lit, which happily handles a varied list of fiction and nonfiction for all markets. She was a journalist in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where she was born and raised, but her love of books couldn't be curtailed, and she moved to New York to pursue her master's and started a career in publishing with an internship at Writers House. And so now she's back in Brazil with her own agency. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but is it pronounced Nasli? Is that correct?
It's Nosley.
Nosley, thank you, Nosley. And Nosley is a committee member part of programs from Gainesville, Florida, but currently lives in New York. She works at Penguin Random House, which is a partner of ours at Girls Right Now, as a production assistant specifically on Penguin Books reprints. And then we have Kaya, who spoke and is actually a member of the Girls Right Now community and is a committee member for social media. She is an Inkluded social media committee member, and she works as a marketing assistant at Macmillan Publishers and currently lives in New York. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass it on to Michael.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hello, Girls Right Now. It's great to be sharing this space with all of you. On behalf of Inkluded, we're grateful for the opportunity to talk a little bit about what we do and why we do it. I'll start with what we do. We're a nonprofit that's dedicated to creating impactful diversity in publishing. It's that simple. That's the mission, that's the goal. We want publishing to be an inclusive space where people feel that they belong, that everybody feels that they belong, that we want equity in every aspect of publishing. That means populating all of the lanes in publishing. And we have events, activities, programming that is dedicated to that. And I've brought some friends along, very important members of the Inkluded community, who will expertly detail what that all is. But before I hand it off, I'll talk a little bit about the history of Inkluded. In the soon thereafter, Donald J. Trump becoming the president of the United States, I finally made good on some threats to create something like Inkluded. Now, little did I know that there were people who were also, for a good while, threatening to do something like Inkluded. And as luck would have it, the publishing gods, the fates, brought us all together. And what we figured out was Inkluded. We do it because it is absolutely necessary. That I started in publishing three or 400 years ago. And it was a pretty white space. All these years later, it's still a pretty white space. And we aim to do something about it. We're here because we have to be here. We're here because publishing needs help to become the thing that it wants to be. Now, we're not the only organization doing this. Naturally, there's Girls Right Now, there's We Need Diverse Books, there's Agents for Change, there are people of color in publishing, Latinx folks in publishing, lots of great organizations. We should all be elevating and supporting each other. I'm very excited that that's true because I remember a time where I was surrounded not by allies, but by skepticism, right? I was the punchline to a lot of jokes when they started talking about all of this stuff back in 1998. So I'm glad that we're here with the opportunity to articulate our ambitions and practice our philosophy. And the way we do that is through our program. So I'll hand it off to Senorita Islam, and she'll tell us about the program.
Yes. Hi, I'm Nosley, and I currently run the programs committee for Included, and it's been really exciting. So our main, besides Included Academy, which is like our definitely like our number one program, but one of our main ones is also our Spotlight program, which is essentially where we ask a speaker to speak on a kind of more specific area of publishing, not just like agenting, but more specific. So we've had speakers on multicultural marketing in publishing. We've had speakers on audiobooks and just areas that are kind of less touched upon and kind of harder to access when you're outside of the industry. And so it's right now we're working, it's currently on Zoom, but it's a program we're working to bring to the public and to be in person eventually, which is really exciting. But I think it's a really great way to kind of help shed light on like the less known areas. And I think when people are outside of publishing, it's kind of mysterious and all people really know about is editorial and sometimes agenting, and then they think that's what everyone does. And a lot of people don't really realize how like multifaceted, and even within like the different layers, like how much there actually is to like learn about. Like even within publishing, like people like me, like I learned so much going to these spotlight sessions because sometimes you just get stuck in your bubble, and it's a great way to kind of like see outside your bubble as well. So that's one of the things. And then another thing we're working on is our Skillshare program, which is kind of a sister program to Spotlight, where it's a little less formal, where Spotlight is structured as a speaker, speaking for about 30 to 40 minutes with a question period. But Skillshare, we're aiming for it to be more of a kind of open forum for people to come and bring questions to some people with some expertise and just have like more of a discussion rather than a formal lecture. And we're still working on it, but this one is something we're planning to keep online for more broad access. So, because we know while publishing is based in New York and it's very New York based industry, we do want to still keep some parts of it accessible to people who aren't in New York at the moment. So, and then of course we have Included Academy, which is the main program, the first program, and it's what I started with and Included. And it basically, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I know we're going to touch on that in a little bit, but it's really great way to help people of color learn the really basics of the industry and kind of like get their foot in the door in that sense without having to pay like hundreds or thousands of dollars to get there. So, yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. That I have a couple of other people here who could speak to what the experience is that Nasli articulated. Uh, uh, maybe you guys, maybe Ms. Hodge and Ms. Roman, what did you want to add to anything I said, anything that Señorita Islam said?
Mia, do you want to go first? I can start. Okay, cool. So, hi everybody. I said it earlier in this meeting. I'm Kaya. I am Included Academy Cast of 2021 with Nosley. Hey.
Mhm.
And my experience was full of information and insight. Like Nazi was saying, there are so many different avenues and departments in publishing that I had no idea about. And my favorite part of Included was learning how everything comes together and how the life of a book really goes from an idea in an author's mind to like winning awards and being on shelves. There are so many things that take place in between that. And when I was first starting off in publishing, like I had a few internships under my belt, but it wasn't until I participated in Included Academy that I knew like, okay, I got a little sampler platter of all the different things that are out there that have to offer. And after my summer with Included, I participated in a sales internship with Publishers Weekly, which is kind of like a ooh la la on my resume. But I also got to learn a lot about sales, marketing, um, those two like departments specifically. And when it was time to find my first big girl job, not only was Included like a heavy resource in cover letters, resumes, all the fine details, but just the general information that I got from the program made me feel confident that like I know what I'm doing. I can do this. I'm qualified to be here. It was definitely helpful with alleviating a lot of imposter syndrome. And I think I'm the only one out of all of us who is also a participant in Girls Right Now. So I'll kind of explain how that transition happened. Um, so I got an email from my Macmillan email address saying that Girls Right Now was partnering with Macmillan to talk about networking. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. I network all the time. I love talking to people. And it wasn't until I was in a meeting very similar to this and talking to a whole bunch of people from Girls Right Now that I knew that I wanted to be further connected with the program. And initially, I wanted to be a mentor because I thought I had a lot to offer. I still do. But I thought it would be really helpful for me, just where I am in the season, to be a mentee. So, like, my name right now at the bottom of this is like T, comma Kaya, because I'm a mentee, but I also am a marketing assistant at Macmillan. Yeah, so that's where I am. And Included has definitely helped me get here.
Well done. Bravo. Uh, Ms. Roman, what say you, sister?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Kaya, I love that you have your Queenie copy over there. I love that book so much. Yeah. Well, I was not a part of Included Academy as a member, like as a student, because I was there when Michael was like, we should do something like this. But I'm very proud of being a part of Included Academy as faculty member and mentor as well. Just because I didn't have that when I started off in publishing. I only had Michael saying to me that he was going to make this immigrant find a job before I would have to move back to my home country. And then it was
We got it
hectic.
done.
It was a nightmare. But I didn't have a support system. And although I pride myself in knowing that Included Academy offers all the tools and all of the sessions with stellar people from publishing in all areas, I also know that what Included offers is the community, much like what you all have at Girls Right Now. And I feel like that whenever we are who we are is the most important thing. So watching that bloom, watching people from different classes still be in touch, watching Nasli be in this room and Kaya being in this room is just what I feel like is the most rewarding experience at Included Academy, and what I hope we keep seeing in publishing, because the more of us, the merrier. And we are an organization that hopes that we're not needed in the future, unlike many others. So that's it. Am I missing anything else?
Well said. Islams, please speak to the same.
Yes, I mean, I definitely know I wouldn't be here at all without Included. I remember I just like freshly graduated college. I knew I wanted to be in publishing, but I had no idea how to do that. And so when I got to Academy, I got friends, I got an internship, and then with Michael's help, I got a job. So I wouldn't have known what department I wanted to be in if I hadn't done Included. I remember we were going through the sessions and production had moved to be the last one just because of how timing worked out. And I remember I was freaking out when it was first happening because as we went through, I was like, okay, I don't want to do that one. I don't want to do that one. I don't want to do that one. And I kind of kept crossing them off my list and I was kind of panicking. I was like, I just graduated with a degree in English. What else am I going to do? And then we got to production. I was like, oh, thank God. Okay, that's perfect. And next, I just went straight for it and kind of got like one of the first production jobs I applied for, luckily. And yeah, so it's been really great and I love it.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you. You've heard us talk a little bit about Included Academy. It's our flagship, like Nasli mentioned. So I'll give you some history to contextualize it. Like I said, I've been threatening to do something like Included. And from going back and forth with HR as part of my job at Writers House, I knew that I wanted to have a response to CPC, the Columbia Publishing course. I wanted a response to the master's program at NYU in publishing, Pace's master's program, Emerson's master's program in publishing, and got to talking with Mia and some of the other people that assembled, and Included Academy was born. And what that is, it's a free publishing course for people who look like us from our walk of life. It's absolutely free. It's over the course of 8 weeks in the summer. We meet on Saturdays, and each Saturday we dedicate to a particular lane or particular lanes. For instance, week 1 will be agenting, week 2 editorial, week 3 managing ed / production, so on and so forth. You met Mia. Mia has you've always done the subsidiary rights, Scotty, right? No one else has done that. That's you. But we bring together an all-star faculty of young professionals to lead us through a day-long class. That there are weekly assignments. They're reviewed by faculty. They're reviewed by the mentors. Each matriculant is assigned a mentor to help them with assignments and, I guess, navigate the program, i.e. me. And I'm always reviewing the work and one-on-one with people. That the idea is that people feel supported, the matriculants feel supported as they're engaging this rigorous curriculum, and that they don't feel set adrift. That it ends with a big capstone project that ties in everything that they've learned. They have to work as a group to present a 45-minute to an hour program about what publishing is. It usually starts with somewhere in the cold winter's night, a writer writes a book, and they take it from there, all the way to Barnes and Noble and being on a bookshelf somewhere. So that's the program in broad strokes. And the idea is that we wanted to make sure that the people we wanted participating in publishing had the training requisite to what they get at CPC, what they get at SPI, what they get at all of these places. That we wanted to do it, we wanted to do it better, we wanted to do it for free. And to date, I feel we've accomplished that. At least that's what the early reports indicate. Now I'll hand it off to our committee leader, our Included Academy committee leader who could fill in more of the blanks and talk about how to submit to participate. Mia Ramon?
Yes. Well, for the sake of curiosity, I just wanted to mention the sessions that we have nowadays. Obviously, this can be changed in the future as publishing changes, which we know it will. But for now, we have agenting, as Michael said, editorial, resumes, cover letters and interviews, managing editorial production, publicity, marketing and sales, contracts and royalties, subrights and scouting, and then another session for job applications and HR as well. So not only are we covering each specific department with different staff members throughout the publishing industry, but we also want to cover a lot about cover letters and how to perfect your resume and how to do mock interviews, for instance, if needed. So we want to be thorough in the sense as to help matriculants go from I want to know more about publishing to I know where I want to work in publishing, as Nazli mentioned, which would be like the checklist, but also throughout the interview process. And that is why we've assigned throughout the years one-on-one mentorship with either faculty members or members from Inkluded to have that extra help for each of the matriculants to have their mentor. And we have that just so people know exactly who to reach out for information and interviews and questions about the program or questions about the assignments. And then the mentor can help navigating that. As far as applying, we apply through a link, through a form that we will share with you once we're closer to the date, because applications start in April and go through June. So you would have roughly a month to apply this year. And then we usually have 2 rounds of interviews with different people at the Inkluded Academy Committee. And then decisions are made before the 4th of July break, which is right before we start orientation and all of the sessions on Saturdays, as Michael mentioned. Anything else that I'm missing, Michael?
I don't think so, Kaya, Nazli.
I don't think you're missing anything, but something that I did want to highlight about support, it's not just that I felt supported when I was a participant for the 8 weeks in the program. After the program was over, after I was doing internships and still trying to revise my cover letters and resumes for like getting an official job in publishing, I was still in communication with a lot of the people who I was in the program with and like Michael one-on-one. A funny story that comes to my mind. I think a week before I got my first official offer from Macmillan, I ended up crying on the phone because I didn't know what was gonna happen. And I was like, I don't know, I'm trying my best. It was one of those things where I was trying to keep it together. And then when someone asks you how you're doing, it kind of just falls apart. It was that. And Michael was there to be supportive. And then next week, when I called him, like, okay, I just got this offer, what am I gonna do? It was like, is this the same girl who was crying on the phone, saying that she didn't know it was gonna happen? So that kind of support is really just like unlimited. And it makes me feel good to be a part of a community like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I think that we covered all of the bases around what we do and how we do it and what our flagship is. I'm wondering if this is a good time to field questions. GWN, Catherine, what's
Sure,
up?
yeah. I'm happy to open it up to our Q&A. Good timing. So feel free to add any questions to the chat, but you're also welcome to unmute and go ahead and ask the questions to the group.
I have a question. So first, thank you so much for sharing all of that information. It sounds like Inkluded does so much really good work, and I really appreciate like the everything that you offer. I was wondering if like the academy this year, if it's going to be virtual this year. Like last year, it looks like it was, and I wasn't sure if it will also be this year.
Mia?
Yes. We've been doing virtual classes since obviously the pandemic hit. In 2020, that was our first online session for Included throughout the program. We are still doing that this year. However, it is very important that we have people who are located in the tri-state area, just because we want to place them in, you know, in the field right after Included Academy. And this is unfortunately where we are at, with people coming back to the office and being required to be in the office at least 2 times a week. So in order to better place our matriculants, we are holding the classes on Saturdays online. However, we need people to be ready to you know, live in the tri-state area when September comes. Michael, anything else?
Yeah, there's a question around age group for those applying.
As long as you've graduated or is about to graduate right after Included starts, no age limit.
Graduated from college, yes?
From college, yes, I'm sorry.
Right, right. That the idea is, I'm in these conversations a lot, talk about it on a couple of fronts. The idea is that we want, the way we feel we could make the biggest impact is by supporting the people who are ready to, you know, are already in New York, ready to enter the field. That it's a little more challenging when someone is in Texas or in Illinois and they're a year or two away from moving to New York or being able to move to New York. We feel that that isn't the best way to use our resources and articulate our mission. So it's a tough decision to make, but it's a decision that we've made. And at the same time, we're going to have programming that has a longer reach, that has a national and international reach, because that's important too. So just wanted to clear that up. And then by way of age group, kind of living in the same neighborhood here, we want you very close to graduating college or having graduated college, so that, and you're ready to enter the workforce for all the same reasons that we want to get publishing to be diverse. We want it to be a diverse space. And this is the straightest line to that. So just wanted to make sure that that was clear. Nasli, anything else to add? And Kaya, anything to add around those questions?
Just a quick follow-up question. I was just wondering if there's any sort of expectation, any sort of baseline, or if there's any sort of like expected rigor when it comes to work and effort put in.
Wait, say that one more time.
Well, I was just wondering if there's any sort of baseline expectations, sort of lay down the law kind of foundations that should be expected to be followed when it comes to putting in as much thought and effort into this.
Yes, I'm a very lay down the law kind of guy. I'm not even gonna pretend that I'm not. I'm very much the boss, and that's all there's to it. And that's cool if you're not down with that. But then you're not down with this. I take this very seriously. I've asked my friends to come in on Saturdays in the summer. And because they believe in what we're doing and they believe in me, they do it. So I'm not much for reasons or excuses. They belong to you, not to me. And my expectation is this, to be exceptional. And I'll go first. But there's no excuse not to be. And I'll share a little experience from when I first started at Writers House. I was supporting the desk of the founder, and he pretty routinely threw me down the stairs. But this is the thing. He paid me every single time the biggest compliment because he expected me to be exceptional every single time at everything I did. And as Mia knows, as Nasli knows, all of these guys are products of programs I've put together. That I'll go first, but you're second. And that's the way it's going to be. And if it's not for you, I respect that. But I hope you respect what I'm doing. Answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
You're very welcome. There was a question for where was it?
There was a question
do we
about
have to sign up? Is there a signing up?
So we will have, first of all, we scream on the roof. So whenever we have the link ready, because we want as many applications as possible to review. But we can send that to Catherine. Would that be okay with you, Catherine? But apart from that, yeah, and apart from that, we always have it up on the Inkluded website and Book Jobs and Publishers Weekly, and wherever you find jobs in publishing, we try to be there whenever applications are open. The only reason why we can't accept applications before that is because we have to be very organized in terms of reviewing and carefully reviewing the applications whenever we are ready to start that year's program.
Fantastic. Thank you. So as Nasli said, and I'm just reading this from the chat, I don't know exactly what part of publishing I want to be in. Do you get to experience each department? I'll throw that to Hajj and Islam, since you guys had to suffer us. So.
Yes, I would say the experience that we get is the freedom to ask as many questions as we want to whoever's presenting that week. Most of the leaders from varied departments encourage us to ask questions that are either unconventional or untraditional, or like they encourage us to like ask what it's really like to see if we want to be there or not. So it's not necessarily firsthand experience in that we are doing their jobs every day, but we get to ask them what their jobs are like.
Yeah, just to add to that, we do definitely get to hear from them on their day-to-day, what their kind of projects tend to look like. We do get assignments each week to kind of help get into that mode. So that also is kind of fun. Like, it's not for every single department because that would be a lot of assignments, but we do get to do some assignments, learn some of the terminology for each department. So you do kind of get, I don't know if you get to like experience it per se, but you do kind of get a little taste. And I think it's enough to kind of know, if you know what's important to you, you get to know which departments would suit you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mia, your faculty, did you want to add to that?
Yes. We, as Michael said, we expect stellar attitudes from everyone that is a matriculant and Inkluded Academy, but we expect people to be on time, people to be dedicated, and people to be just excited about the work itself and how they're gonna, you know, how they're gonna behave throughout it. We want work ethic. We want people who are engaged within Inkluded Academy, not only with the faculty, but with the community itself, because that is how we build a strong community. But we don't expect people to know everything about publishing, because that is literally impossible. I am well into a decade of working in publishing, and there's still a lot that I don't know. If I could, I would take every class at Inkluded Academy every year, because there's more to learn every year. So you get you get a taste of everything, as Nasli pointed, but I feel like we also try to be very open about receiving questions and talking to people, talking to matriculants even after the class. So if there's anything that you still, you know, you have a nagging doubt there and you want to talk to the staff that who just, taught last week, you can still email them. You can still reach them throughout your mentor or directly. So it's important to mention that even though you don't get to experience in depth, because we only have so many hours in any given Saturday to teach, we try to be here afterwards too, if that is what you want to pursue in publishing.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you. Caitlin, how do you find positions to place the members of Included? Can you unpack that a little bit? I'm not quite certain what you mean.
Yeah, I might have been a little bit unclear on everything, but it kind of sounded like you guys helped the mentees of Included find places to apply, find positions for them to start making a difference in like the publishing and editing world. And I was wondering if you had like a bunch of connections that helped you get
Yeah,
them
we
into
know a
that.
few people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a few people.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we do. I do it at Writer's House as well. And since I've been at it at Writer's House for a few decades, nearing 25, because like I said, I'm about 300 years old. I know HR at all the big five. I know the HR people everywhere. And we're probably the Writer's House intern program is probably represented at every agency. So all to say that people reach out to me and or Included, and I share that. Whatever I get, I share with the Writer's House intern program people and my Included children as well. So there's that. And like Mia said, she's been at this for a decade now. You're no spring chicken, woman. That we're all of us at this for a long time. So people reach out to us and share their posts. Sometimes before they actually post, it's easier for them to come to the folks that Included or to me for Writer's House and Included. That we're very, very active around helping our young people land jobs. We do a lot of career coaching. We do a lot of mentoring. That's hallmark to the experience. I think that, Islam and Hajj would agree that we're very present that way. And I've been known to meddle and overreach and use tactics fair and unfair to gain advantage for my young people. I want you guys in the business. So we sure do. But we don't decide what you're going to be. That's a solo flight. We go, these are all of the things. There are more. We could talk about them. We could bring more people in to talk to you. But I didn't decide that Islam was going to be in production. Islam decided she was going to be in production. Hajj decided what Hajj was going to do. In between, crying sessions, figured it out. Figured that part we don't do. That part isn't the part of a mentor. That's a solo flight.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
Great. And then I also wanted to be clear here around this credential, the college credential. We don't require it. If you're ready to work, is kind of where we're coming from. You might have decided college wasn't for you. You might have decided, hey, after a semester, this isn't for me, but I want to work. You're absolutely eligible. We don't want to, in other words, disqualify you because you've decided not to pursue a degree. And that's our current policy. And I just wanted to be clear around that because I messed that up. So apologies. But I believe I have it right now. Correct, Mia?
Correct. And we have had matriculants in the past that had career changes and were very open about it. And we're like, okay, we want to start from the beginning in publishing. We've had people who, you know, majored in biology and then wanted to start off in publishing. What I will say is, if that is what you want to pursue, make sure that you know books, that you read a, you know, very list of books in across every genre, and make sure you know how to talk about books, because even though that is not required to have, I don't know, a literature major or something like that, for Included or for any given job in publishing, it is important for you to know what you want to work with. So as long as you are well versed in publishing, in the publishing industry and books in general, you should be fine to get your foot in the door for the first interviews, and we hope to see you there.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a question. Do you offer resources or programming for authors who are trying to get their work published? Not yet, not now. That isn't the principal mission. It's to educate, train, and place in a very practical way the people who want to populate the lanes in publishing that isn't the role of the writer. That you want to be a publicist, you want to be in marketing, you want to be in managing ad or production or subsidiary rights or scouting. Those are the people that we're looking for. That's not to say that moving forward, hint, hint, Ms. Islam, we won't have programming that does that, at least a little bit. But I think that right now, no, the answer is no. But I just wanted to be clear and maybe something more robust. Anything to add around that question, guys?
I just feel, just to add to your point, Michael, that this is something that is a big mission for everyone at Included, because we know that it doesn't, even if we have diverse authors getting deals, we need to have diverse people in the publishing field, in the publishing industry, to be able to speak to those books and to sell those books the way they should be sold. So the mission here is parallel in that sense. So we are also tracking all of the other organizations that are doing such things, and we hope to do that one day. But as an Included member, for instance, as an agent, 85% of my list is diverse, because that is a mission of mine, and the ones that are not have been inherited, or there's a story to it. But I feel like just being at Included in general, as a member or as a matriculant, and being engaged with Included, I feel like this comes naturally to people who are going to those fields in the Big Five or agencies or scouting agencies or so on.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you get to edit authors' works or your peers' works that have not been published yet or about to be published? Because my professor, who is an agent, allowed us to do some tip sheets and readers' reports of some type of works. Okay, that the closest we have to that is in weeks 1 and 2, traditionally dedicated to agenting and editorial, where you're going to have the opportunity to review a manuscript and put together a reader's report and put together an editorial letter. So that's what you mean. The answer is yes. You do those in week 1 and week 2. They're revised, they're reviewed, they're one-on-one about, but it isn't something that is exclusively the Included experience. Okay. Shannon, did we answer your question? Yes, no, maybe? Okay. Moving right along. Yes, thank you. Okay. You're very welcome. Aside from the Academy, are there any internships or volunteer opportunities to learn more about the publishing field / industry? Book Jobs is a good stop. PW is a good stop. Folks, Mia, Haj, Islam, others?
We Need Diverse Books was really helpful for me.
Can you say that one more time?
We Need Diverse Books was really helpful for me.
We Need Diverse Books. Islam?
Yeah, just Book Jobs is great. I would check the pages of each like publisher, like the big ones, and then like the big five plus some of the other ones. I would check those literally every single day when I was applying for jobs. And so that never hurts to be like one of the first people in there. So that too.
Good. You want to be in publishing, read Publishers Weekly, read Publishers Marketplace. That if you're still at university or recently graduated, contact your university college library and go, hey, get a subscription if they don't have one. And access it. And you should be reading about the industry and taking notes so that when you do meet us, you could ask us any questions. I know these guys are always down. I've worked with Mia the longest, so I know she's always down to answer any and all questions. So by all means, prepare yourself. Your career is already started. You got to have that mindset that your career is already started. And now what are you prepared to do to educate yourself? Right. Good. This last one is more of an international outlook.
This is myself, Michael, for the links that I was dropping there as you guys were talking. So all of the links to the websites we mentioned are on the chat, guys.
Great. Any other ones? These are all great questions.
Well, if we don't have any more questions, would you all on the Included team like to give any final comments or thoughts before we wrap up tonight?
Sure. Who'd like to start? I volunteer, Haj.
Hey guys. For final comments, I think I want to go back to the question talking about like personal writing, because I knew that I wanted to end up in publishing. Included was a great tool to facilitate me getting there, but I'm also in girls right now because I have my own interests as a writer. So if you're already in the space, I think you're in the right place. And Included has a lot to offer when it comes to making our voices heard in publishing in general. We as a big collective of us, and the support is unlimited. So I don't think you have anything to lose by applying. Yeah.
Great. Islam?
Yes. Not much to say, just Included is great, and be on the lookout for on our socials, because hopefully soon there will be some open to public spotlight sessions that will start virtual and then be based in New York. So keep your eyes out for those. Not shamelessly plugging us, but that's what this is for.
Thank you. Señorita Roman.
Yes. I would share just a piece of advice that someone at Writers House gave me when I was interning there way too long ago, that I still hold very close to my heart nowadays as I'm working in this industry, which is if you want to work in publishing or if you want to write, just do not stop reading for pleasure. I feel like this is one of the most important pieces of advice I've ever had, because it gets to a point where you forget what a published book should read like. And whenever you lose that perspective, that is when you start to feel burned out. Because if you're working in publishing or if you're writing, you love that a lot. So you want to do that and you want to keep doing that. So in order to have longevity, because I feel like as a diverse person within this industry, I am very worried about retention in publishing. So we have to make sure that people still love books as they're working with books or as they're writing books. So do not stop reading for pleasure ever. Make time. I promise you it pays off.
Good. Thank you. I'm lucky enough to have as a job the opportunity to talk to students all across the country. And usually after the hour and a half, however long it is, I go, remember that I don't dictate the terms of your dreams. Whether you're in Included or not in Included, you get to participate in publishing because that's what you want. And go and do that. Do the things you need to do. We've given you some advice, but it's not the entire mark of it. That train and educate yourself. You don't need Kaya and Nazli and Michael and Mia for that. That Publishers Weekly exists, not because I say so, it's just because it exists. You go and read it. Read it all of the time. Take notes, prepare yourself. Don't do it for anybody else, but do it for your dream. Because it's your dream. What is more important than that? That I say it in this space, especially, you get to be the thing you want to be. You get to be the thing you want to be. That I believe that so much. I base my career, it's the premise of my career in this business. And I'll end it that way. Thank you on behalf of Included. We'd like to thank Girls Right Now for sharing this evening, sharing this moment with us. And I want to thank my teammates, Islam, Roman, Haj. Thank you for being brilliant.
Yes, thank you so much to everyone on the Included team for a great presentation. And thank you to everyone who asked questions. I found that really engaging. And thank you for all your insights. This is some really great work that we have going on. And then just going to plug staying in touch. Feel free to follow Included on Twitter/now X, thanks Elon, at Get Included. And you can visit their website at included.org. And lastly, of course, we always have to say follow us on social. So please do follow Girls Right Now at Girls Right Now on all platforms. And with that, thank you all again for coming to this event and have a great evening.